On today's Glory Days show, the Cleveland Indians have punched their ticket to the World Series, and they're trying to win a championship for the first time since 1948. But they still don't know who they'll play from the National League. And the National League Championship Series has Game 6 tonight.
The Dodgers and the Cubs are fighting it out in Chicago tonight, where the Cubs haven't even been to the World Series since 1945, and they haven't won it since 1908. The Cubs, who lead the series 3-2, are just one win away from getting there. But they're going to have to get past Dodger ace Clayton Kershaw tonight. Baseball analyst Joe Bottagna will join us today to talk about it.
And in our Did You Hear About segment, Madonna is making men an offer they can't refuse if they vote for Hillary Clinton, while Noah Syndergaard has some tips for fans attending Met games in the future.
The best hour of Sports Week is coming up on Glory Days right now.
Inravio.com.
Hello again, everybody. Today is Saturday, October 22nd, 2016, and you are watching the Glory Days Show with Bruce and Disco. My name is Paul Discofani, and this is my good friend Bruce Oler, Anthony Mazzallo, and
Bonnie Schultz.
Just kidding. Okay. And Bonnie Schultz are behind the glass today. The anniversary couple, Chuck and Bonnie, this week. You're joining us on the Inravio TV network, where we stream live from Studio C right here in the great state of New York. Good morning.
How are you, my friend?
I'm all debated out.
Well, I'll tell you what, there were a couple of things that happened this week, and I'm glad the presidential debates are finally over, man.
You know,
they were an exhausting thing to watch, and actually, I was so exhausted I didn't see the third one.
Oh, you didn't watch the third one?
I fell asleep.
Oh,
I
my
snoozed
goodness.
on it, man.
Well, you know what? Of course, I watched it because I have nothing.
I'm not surprised.
better to do.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised you have something to say about it too.
Well, you know, everybody thought that Donald Trump needed to hit a home run.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not sure he did. Okay.
Okay.
I think he had a couple of pretty good lines. I thought she was once again the same thing, robotic, scripted.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny watching the like the real conservative websites and all the stuff pointing to conspiracy theories
for sure.
and all that stuff. And I just, you know, it just comes down to one very simple thing. She's a politician and he isn't.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. You know, he just does not know when to shut up.
Well, that's true. And we said that after the first debate too. You know what I mean? You make your point, and that's it. Less is more. But you know, he's kind of a he's not a less is more guy. I mean, he really is.
No, but you know what? He is who he is, and to me, that's the appeal of the whole thing.
That's true. That's true.
You know what I mean? It's just that's who he is, and he's not going to change for anyone. I mean, let's face it. Everyone said that if all he had done was become presidential, by the time the first debate came, he would win. But he can't do that.
That's right.
Not because. I guess it's just because he's just not that person.
He doesn't. I don't think he wants to. You know what I mean? And you know, part of it is who he is. I mean, you have to be true to yourself, and I guess that's his philosophy.
You know, he just.
So the election is what 2.5 weeks away is what it is now.
In 17 days, this thing will finally be over.
And no more debates, which is great. You know, and this will all be behind us, thank God.
You know, I thought he missed a couple of chances to really get to her, so to speak, because it's not really the moderator's place to. I mean, the moderator pushed her on one of the questions she never answered.
Yeah.
He said, you know, at one time you mentioned that you would want to put a no-fly zone over Aleppo, right? And he said to her, the moderator, I think it was Chris Wallace.
Yeah, Chris Wallace from Fox News.
He said to her, if the Russians sent a plane into the no-fly zone, would a President Clinton shoot down the plane? And she didn't answer that question. She went into
President
something
Clinton?
else.
That guy up there or me? You know?
Well, she went into a different answer, and then he said, but you haven't answered the question. Would a President Clinton? And then she went right back to the same rhetoric.
Okay.
But at that point, when it's Donald Trump's turn to talk, he should have said, you didn't answer the question.
Yeah, but
what
I
would
will.
you do? But yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what he should say.
Yeah.
I'm going to shoot those little,
Yeah.
you know. And then, you know, again, I know that there's all this thing about the rhetoric and about the, you know, him talking about it being a biased media. The two things that they focused on, and of all the really good things he said, was he said that they were bad hombres.
Hombres, he
Yeah,
said?
he says there's
He's
bad
appealing
hombres.
to the Mexicans, okay.
Right, he says there's bad hombres and we're going to get rid of them. And then he called her a nasty, he says, you're a nasty woman.
Oh, yeah?
And everybody was losing their mind over that. Oh, how could you? It's so unpresidential. But they missed what she said that prompted him to say that, okay? They were talking about Social Security, and she was giving her plan for keeping Social Security solvent. And she said, you know, my plan, we're going to use this much of a percentage of federal income tax. And then she turned to him and she looked at him and said, if you don't figure out a way not to pay them. And then went back into talking, right, as if she just threw it out there. And that's when he just said, you're a nasty woman.
Okay.
But nobody sees that, or they don't play it that way. And then at the dinner the other night.
Yeah, that was, I saw that. Actually, they were talking about, is that Cardinal
Not Cardinal,
Dolan?
Dolan, right.
Dolan.
Right.
He was saying they were pretty cordial backstage with each other,
Yeah.
you know? And actually, there's a couple of scenes you can see them where actually, and he's sitting between the two of them, so they're sitting pretty close. And they're both smiling. Looks like they're sharing a laugh.
I thought they
or
were
two,
both
you know?
having a good time.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he was singing
I mean,
her,
and he
she was
singed
singing him.
he singed it pretty good, but he kept it up, and eventually he got booed for it. So.
Well, he was going to get booed anyway because
Yeah.
it's usually a pro-Democratic crowd
Yeah.
anyway. And all they kept focusing on were the two jokes he did that bombed. They didn't at all
About
show
the Catholics,
any of,
yeah.
but they didn't show the ones that he did that were really very funny.
Well, there was one he said that was great. He goes, he goes, I don't understand things. He goes, you know, Michelle Obama gives a speech. You know, everybody thinks it's great. He goes, my wife gives the exact same speech, and it's a problem. You know.
Well, he said the other thing he said was about he says Hillary bumped into me backstage. And she says, oh, pardon me. He says, and I told her, once I get elected, we'll consider it.
That was a good one, too. That was a good one, too. All right,
That's
but
a
some
good
other
one.
things happened, and it's more sports related. So, I mean, the thing that I think is kind of bubbling right now, in New York especially, is the Giants and the NFL. They're on a hot seat for the way they handle this kicker Josh Brown's domestic abuse charges.
Right.
They suspended him one game, reinstated him, and now he's on the commissioner's exempt list. I guess he can get paid. He can use the facilities, but he can't play on the team.
It's until they decide what to do with
Yep.
him. It's like limbo.
Yeah. Okay. So you know, and the Giants. I mean, I guess not only information came out right away and things like that, and I don't think the NFL did a very good job of pursuing getting that information. Sounds like, at least in today's paper, they were talking about the fact that I guess the local guy that was from the NFL that was supposed to work with the local sheriff's department never identified himself as being an NFL official or, you know, in an official capacity. And they kind of blew him off a little. But they said, you know, well, you know, whatever. They didn't know who the guy was. The guy never pursued the fact, you know, I'm the NFL and I need access to the information and things like that.
And that's one of the things that the NFL fails on.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I understand that you're trying to protect players, but let's just look at the Giants for a second.
Well, yeah, there's a couple of things to say about the Giants.
Right.
First of all, what John Mara said, you know, I mean...
That they knew about it?
Well, not only they knew about it, but he said, we didn't know about the extent of it or whatever. You know? And then Eli Apple's mom, who's a domestic abuse, you know, survivor. She goes, you know, wrong is wrong. It doesn't matter how many times he did it, you know.
Exactly. And what I didn't understand was, we're not talking about Eli Manning. We're not talking about a quarterback on a team. Not that that should matter in any way,
Well, that was the
shape,
other
or
point I was
form.
going to make. That's right.
This is a freaking kicker.
Yeah.
Okay? This guy, if you want to cover this up, you know what I mean? Or you want to try and say, oh, well, if the NFL doesn't suspend them, we can't suspend them. That's bull.
Yeah.
This is your team.
Yeah.
This is every player on your team is the face of your team.
That's right.
And if he's going to be the face of your team, and you're just going to suspend them for one game, that's on you. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and again, I guess with some of this information coming to light after the fact, I mean, I guess you're a team. You're always going to support your teammates and things like that. But the difference with Eli Manning is that Eli Manning is the face of the franchise. He's also one of the guys who were involved with this No More campaign. No more boys will be boys.
Right.
And then he does the exact opposite with his it's with his player.
Yeah. And it's unconscionable.
Unconscionable, okay.
Right? It's a good word.
It is.
That's a $5 word.
I think it's a word Joe Patania will use.
Oh, us writers like to stick together. But it's just amazing that I understand everyone is innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, although as you said last week,
Well,
except
unless
for in the
it's-
case
right.
of like
And
rape and
again,
things like that,
This is you are being accused of doing something, so in the eyes of the public, you're guilty.
Yeah.
Right, wrong, or indifferent. That's just the way it
Well,
works.
it's the court of public opinion is
But
what it is. Yeah.
they could have just said, listen, we know the NFL only suspended you for one game. We're suspending you immediately for 3 more games or whatever, 4 games, however you want to do
Yeah.
it. They should have done that, and I said that in the beginning, that how could this guy just get suspended 1 game when Adrian Peterson was suspended for the rest of the season?
Yeah. Ray Rice.
Ray Rice lost his career.
Yeah.
Granted, Ray Rice lost his career because there was video.
Yeah. Now here's the spin that somebody put on it. But Josh Brown is white, and those 2 guys are black. You know
what?
So it's a racist organization. Let's go.
Sometimes you can't dispute that. You just can't.
Well, that's right. I mean, it's not only is it unconscionable, it's indefensible.
Indefensible and unconscionable.
Wow.
2 very big $5
I don't. My
here
wife,
on the Glory Days
she's
show.
always watching this Andy Cohen. And they always have like a word that every time somebody says something, you get a drink.
Oh, it's like a drinking game.
So we should have done unconscionable or indefensible.
Well, there were a couple of things that they said during the debate.
Oh, yeah?
That were key
Indefensible
drinking
or
words.
unconscionable?
No. Disgusting.
Okay.
Disgraceful.
Yeah.
What was it? There were like 3 or 4 words that
Terrific. Huge. I don't know. Wrong. That's another good one.
They actually had because
I did
it was
not.
in Las Vegas, by the way.
Yeah.
They were actually taking prop bets.
Oh, I'm sure they were.
On things like the number, like how many times would they mention Benghazi, and how many times would they do this, and how many times would they do that. It was really, they bet on anything. Out there in Las Vegas.
So the Giant thing is a mess. I guess they have another kicker, and actually they're over in England to play the Rams tomorrow at 9:30 in the morning.
9:30 in the morning, yeah. And you know what? I'm really hating these games now.
Yeah.
I hate the Thursday game. I mean, it was good for you. You got 3 touchdowns from Aaron Rodgers this week.
About time I did something.
But I don't think that the players play well in the Thursday game because it's just too short of a. I just don't understand how the NFL cannot just say, okay, we're going to take 2 teams that were on the bye.
I
and
was
let
about
them
to
play
say
the
that. I mean,
Thursday game the
that would
following
make
week.
sense.
Why
That would
wouldn't
make
that
sense.
be it? You know what I mean? Because that would give the bye not only 1 week, but give them a couple of
And
extra
most
days.
likely because they are bye teams, they play in the same division, so they have to play that game. I mean, it's not like they're ships passing in the night where they play once every 3 or 4 years or something.
I just think that they should be able to do that.
I
And you
agree.
know what? This whole thing with the London game.
Yeah.
Again, same thing. Have 2 teams coming off the bye play the London game.
I was reading something interesting about this, that there's a debate. Everybody knows football's a macho game and things like that, and I don't think the English are that tough of guys, but they contend that basically rugby players are tougher than football players because they play without equipment.
They do.
And,
They don't put
and
it
it's a
in
good
there.
argument. It is a good
Let me
argument.
tell you something. You know, my son played rugby.
I know he did.
And he said that even though they're beating the living crapola out of each other, there is a mutual respect for things like your head,
Yeah.
and they don't go for your knees, and because you don't have. And we've had this discussion with Pete
With Pete,
Jorgensen
that's right.
about
That's right.
you're protected from head to toe, so you come in stick high.
Yeah.
You know, or you just figure, I'm going to check this guy and he's not going to get hurt. You know, the old days of football players, what they had, they just had little
That's
leather
right,
helmets.
that's right, that's
just
right.
to protect them from a
Skydivers
minor-
wore that same helmet too, by the way.
Yeah, like that's going to help.
Exactly right.
Because here's my question.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, you're skydiving, you're falling, 10,000 miles an hour. The only protection you have is on your head. What are you supposed to do? Turn around and go head first?
That's right.
I mean, what's the point?
They say-
Why not? You know, they should have the big boots that have springs on the bottom of them.
Yeah, yeah.
You never know. It
Well,
might
you know,
work.
but who's our favorite paraplegic there? You know, the Blade Runner. You know, Pistorius, right? You
Oscar
know?
Pistorius.
Yeah.
See him in a skydiving
That's right,
accident.
that's right.
He'd be bouncing around like a
Yeah.
trampoline for a couple of things, and then he'd settle.
So, and the other thing that happened in New York sports this week is, the Jets are off to this dismal 1-5 start. They looked horrible Monday night against the Cardinals. What was it, 27-3? I'm not sure the final score. I know they scored 3 points and 20-something the Cardinals scored. But now the Jets are making a change at quarterback. Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to the bench, and Geno Smith is going to be our leader. Okay.
The Punchy
Yeah.
the clown.
Punchy the clown. And all I can say about this is, in the words of Donald Trump, what have we got to lose? Okay,
You know what?
At 1-5, we don't have much to lose.
In
We really
this
don't.
case, we have nothing to lose because it's over anyway.
It is. That's right.
You know what I mean? So
I mean, it looks like the next few games they have. I mean, they could get back to 500. I mean, I think the toughest game they have is tomorrow against the Ravens.
You know what?
But then they're playing a couple of some mediocre teams. The Dolphins aren't that good.
At this point, I'm shooting for the #1 draft choice.
Are you?
Why not?
What have
That's
we
the
got to
only-
lose?
What have we got to lose? We might as well. All right. You know what? I think we're going to go to a break.
Okay, that sounds good.
Oh, we still have time before the break?
Oh, we got the 2-minute warning. Okay.
Now what are we going to do for 2 minutes? So how was your weekend?
My weekend.
We have nothing to talk about. No. I did want to tell you this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't wait to hear it.
I still think Donald Trump is going to win the election.
You do, huh?
I do. I think he's going to win the election. I think that the people that are answering the poll questions
Yeah.
are just saying what they want to say. And when they get into the booth, they're going to vote for him. I think so.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's doubtful that he's going to win. I really do. Oh, let's ask.
No, I don't have the
Oh,
phone.
okay. Oh, okay.
We have Brucey
Whoa!
Stone.
Whoa!
Brucey Stone.
What are those lights out there, man? Okay.
Tell me the future.
All you got to do is ask.
Will Donald Trump win the election?
Ask me in 18 days.
All right. We're just getting started here on the Glory Days show. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, okay.
And right after the break, we'll talk baseball with writer Joe Battaglia about the postseason and evaluate the chances of the 3 remaining teams. Stay with us. You're watching the Glory Days show with Bruce and Disco only on the Inravio TV network. We're coming right back.
For over 60 years, Hanson Carpet has put the customer first, providing only the finest quality products and service. And Hanson Carpet is so much more than just carpet. We also carry a wide selection of window blinds and shades, and our licensed and insured technicians can service any of your flooring or window covering needs. Browse our huge selection of laminate, carpet, linoleum, vinyl, and tile. Stop by our showroom today or visit HansonCarpet.com. No matter what your project, Hanson Carpet has got you covered.
The time has come. Are you ready? Spooky Walk at Camp Aquatic is back and scarier than ever. Tickets are $20 at the gate, with all proceeds supporting the camp. Visit SpookyWalk.com.
Village Music Shop of Mastic. 1-800-HEY-DUDE. Your full-service store with personalized attention, school band instrument rentals and sales, music instruction on all instruments for all styles and age groups, for guitars, drums, amplifiers, PA systems, and accessories. It's Village Music Shop. 1495 Montauk Highway in Mastic. Call 1-800-HEY-DUDE or go to villagemusicshop.com.
Welcome back to the Glory Days show here with Bruce and Disco on the Inravio TV network. The Cleveland Indians punched their ticket to the World Series for the first time since 1997 when they lost in 11 innings of Game 7 to the then Florida Marlins after blowing a 1-run lead in the bottom of the ninth inning. But this time they swept the Red Sox in the American League Division Series and had little trouble with Toronto Blue Jays in the League Championship Series, winning 4-1. Now the Indians will face the National League champion of the World Series, which they haven't won since 1948. It will be either the LA Dodgers, who haven't won a series in almost 30 years, or the Cubs, who haven't won a World Series since 1908. On our phone is a baseball writer that covers the National League Central for the website National League Central Discussion, so he knows a thing or two about the Cubs and baseball in general. Please welcome back to the program our favorite Cuban, Joe Batania. Joe, how are you?
Muy bien, mi amigo.
Whoa, very good. Very
Hey, I know you got Joe, it's Paul. I know you got a chance to go down there recently. How was it?
Yes,
Did you bring back
It was
any
really
Cubans?
I sure did. And as a matter of fact, now you can bring them back from wherever. The law just changed so that you can actually bring back Cuban cigars or Cuban rum anywhere you travel. It's no longer illegal to bring them back into the U.S.
How about that Seinfeld episode where he told to bring back Cubans and he brought back Dominicans, but they were people. They weren't cigars, man. Could you bring back any people? Probably not, huh? You know?
No, but I'll tell you what. I suspect that we're not too far away from having Cuba become a reasonably significant feeder organization in the MLB. I got to go to a couple games while I was down there.
Yeah?
And yeah, I mean, I certainly wouldn't. I wouldn't say that it's MLB caliber. I didn't have a radar gun or anything to actually quantitatively measure things, but I'd say probably AA-ish level baseball. They play an amazing amount of small ball down there, considering that they use the DH. A lot of situations where somebody get on base, and then there'd be a lot of substitutions, pinch runner, get a different hitter in to try to bunt, and it's pretty good baseball.
Cool.
It's baseball like it ought to be.
Yeah.
And the same way they still drive cars from the late 50s and the early 60s. They play baseball like it used to be played back then.
Right. And they certainly do drive cars from the late 50s and very early 60s. I was amazed. I'll send you offline a couple of pictures that I took while I was down in Havana of some of these convertibles they used to take tourists around, and it's like being back in the Eisenhower era.
Well, would it be illegal for you to put a couple of Cuban cigars in a FedEx envelope and send it to me?
It absolutely would not be legal. Let's make that happen, my friend.
You don't want the federales after you.
No, the federales don't care about that anymore. I mean, we're definitely working down the process of ending that whole situation. Which, I mean, it was a good idea when they tried it back in the early 60s, but after 50 years, it's probably, if it hasn't worked for 50 some years, it probably isn't going to work now. So it's time to try a different approach.
Yes. All righty. So, shall we talk about baseball?
Let's do that.
Yeah,
Now, you cover the Central Division now. Is that just for the National League or the American League? Because, you know, the American League entry into this year will be the Cleveland Indians. You cover them too, or we're just going to talk about the Cubs and the Dodgers right now?
No, yeah, we can talk about both because I cover the White Sox for Baseball 30 in the. That's my my two favorite teams are the Sox and the Brewers. So
Right.
I follow both divisions pretty thoroughly, and I actually had the Cleveland Indians, my the model that I developed that I publish on Baseball 30, actually had the Indians winning the Central, and they didn't disappoint. Now I didn't have them in the series because I, along with everybody else, had the woefully underperforming Houston Astros winning the American League, and of course that didn't happen.
Gee, what happened to
But
them?
I have no idea. Talk about the wheels coming off and the engine dropping through the floor of the car. It's just unbelievable. Let's see what happens to them next year if they get it turned around.
Yeah, so, Cleveland, I was kind of surprised because I did like Toronto. I said on this here program that I thought Toronto was going to get to the World Series. But you know what? Toronto turned out to be the Mets of the American League. They can't score runs unless they hit home runs. And, man, that Cleveland pitching staff, and forgetting about their starters versus their relievers or whatever, it was the way Terry Francona used that bullpen that was fantastic. He's you know what? If the Indians get to win the World Series, it might change the way relief
Baseball's
pitchers
played.
are used.
Yeah.
Because the Tony La Russa and the way the Cardinals use their relief pitchers, one batter at a time, sometimes a situation, that changed the way, when you're successful, everybody wants to copy it.
Mm-hmm. Right. But the Cleveland is just a combination of the talent they have and in particular the solid starters and just a really solid bullpen. It was like last year, you guys saw this firsthand.
That's right. The Royals were just
get a starter and manage to get 5 respectable innings out of him, and then turn it over to the shutdown bullpen with just next man up coming out of there. And if you can't get a solid lead the first 3 or 4 innings against a solid starting core, you're toast.
But the thing I think that Francona did, at least in this series, was he went to his best guy when he needed him. Mm-hmm. He didn't wait and just say, "Oh well, I'm going to wait until he gets to the 9th inning."
Yeah, I'm going to save my bullets, right?
I mean,
it doesn't matter. You save.
I'm going to read you a couple of numbers here for
Please
Andrew
do.
Miller. Okay, first of all, he was the American League Championship Series MVP.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a former Yankee.
And a former Yankee. But and he's only the 4th reliever to ever win the MVP.
That award?
Right? But the other guys, Eckersley, Rivera, and Koji Uehara from Boston in 2013, those guys were closers. They got the last out of the games. Combined, they had 9 saves in their series. He never pitched the last out of any game.
Right.
Andrew Miller?
No, he didn't pitch the last out of any game. He struck out 20, right?
Yeah, as I say, and I think that shows that the save statistic is maybe a little overrated because so you have a guy he comes in a horrible situation, a couple of runners on base, nobody out, top of the lineup coming in. He comes in, he puts the fire out, and then the closer comes in the 9th and faces the 4, 5, and 6 with bases empty. And he gets the save. The guy that did the 8th gets a hole. Well, that's kind of silly.
Right. I mean, he recorded at least 4 outs in all 6 of his appearances. And it's not like he came in the 8th to get the last out and then pitched the 9th. He was in the 5th inning. He was in the 7th inning. And then he gave way to somebody else to finish the game. He pitched 2.5 innings of that last game, Game 5. That's just amazing.
But that's Francona, pushing the right buttons too at the right time.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what makes the Indians very scary. Among other things, but when you look at Toronto was an absolute run-scoring machine, has been for a couple of years. Boston is a very powerful offense. I mean, they just completely shut them down. It's like they pulled the plug on them. And I mean, you got the Cubs, who are definitely a big run-scoring machine and a lot of big bats. But you gotta wonder. And I mean, we don't even know if it's going to be the Cubs against them. It could be the Dodgers. But you're going up against a team that basically has defanged some pretty powerful lineups and made them look quite pedestrian. And
you know what? They needed every one of those outs from their pitchers. They hit only 168 in the 5 games, the Indians.
Right.
And they only scored 12 runs in the 5-game series. So they're.
I mean, guys, I commented about in Toronto. You know that Marco Estrada, who started 2 of the games for the Indians, came out of Milwaukee. So actually met Marco personally when he was in Milwaukee. Really classy guy, and I feel so bad for him because he pitched. He got hung with 2 of those losses. He got absolutely 0 run support. His ERA, he pitched, I think it was 14 innings with a 2.57 ERA, and gets 2 losses in the ALCS, and he got 0 run support. I mean, that's you got to feel bad for the Toronto pitchers that were on the receiving end of that. But it just shows how unless you were perfect against Cleveland, you're not going to win.
All right, so let's. I mean, obviously they haven't won a World Series since 1948. The 2 other teams haven't won World Series either in a long period of time. For the Dodgers, the Dodgers haven't won it in almost 30 years, and obviously the Cubs. The Cubs haven't even been there.
Wow.
Since 1945, I believe, was the last time the Cubs were even in the World Series.
Does this, with the Cubs being such a dominating team all year, does it surprise you that that we're at Game 6? And actually, with Clayton Kershaw going tonight, we could be looking at a Game 7 tomorrow.
Yeah, we could be looking at Game 7, and with I mean, obviously, you can't really believe in curses and jinxes and things like that. But gosh, with the Cubs, it seems like like it happens. But I'd be kind of nervous if I were a Cub fan going into Game 7, tied 3-3, and having to win that 7th game to get in the World Series, and knowing everything that's happened all of those years, and everything that happened. Go ahead.
Since you're close to Chicago, obviously, what's the mood in the papers? Are they surprised that they're in a Game 6? Because I would think that after sweeping the Giants, they would have thought that this would have been over in 5 games, 6 at the most, and they'd be taking this weekend off, getting ready for Tuesday.
Yeah, my sense that the Chicago fan base, there's a lot of enthusiasm and just optimism until something goes wrong, and then all of a sudden, here we go again. I just couldn't believe how many of the Cub fans who basically post during games on NLCD discussion were basically just angry, frustrated, ready to fire Madden, ready to just kind of throw the towel because they were down 2 games to 1, and some of us who, I mean, I'm not a Cub fan, but I lived in Chicago for a long time, and I would kind of like to see the Cubs win it. They're our Central Division representative. It's like, guys, chill, okay? We still have we basically win Game 4, and then it's tied, and then we've got a 3-game series with 2 of them at home. Chill.
Well, you know what?
And,
as a Met fan, we kind of understand that, because it's not that. I mean, the thing with the Mets is that they sometimes bring you right there, and you're just waiting for that other shoe.
But you're always
to drop,
waiting for the other shoe to drop.
and then you get right down, and you're almost, especially as a Jet fan, you're always expecting that it's going to go wrong in the end. Okay. I think the Chicago Cub fans have that same thing, because there have been a number of times that they've gotten close and could not get over the hump. I mean, I don't know what it's like in Milwaukee, but you guys have won, but you haven't been close a lot of times to get your heart ripped out at the end. I think that's I know as a Met fan and as a Jet fan, and I'm sure Chicago, they've been so close. Like the Boston fans also, getting their heart ripped out.
Yeah.
at the end. So I don't know. It's if I was a Chicago Cub fan, I'd be concerned.
I think this is going 7 games. I mean, you got Kershaw on the mound. You have Kenley Jansen, who hasn't pitched in a few days, so he's well rested. And I think if it's going to go, it's if it's going to be a tight game, it's just going to be Kershaw right to Jansen. That's going to be it. And then we're looking at the game tomorrow with Jake Arrieta going on the mound for the Cubs. So maybe that's how they sprinkle the pixie dust and emerge to the World Series. We'll see. I would love to see, though, the Cubs and the Indians. I mean, obviously the Indians are already there. I mean, because both of those teams haven't won in a real long time. The Dodgers, it's 30 years. It's not 50 years or 108 years or whatever.
Yeah. As I was thinking about it last night when you called me yesterday on the show. I've made the comment that I'd love to see an Indians Cubs series, because I think they really are the two best teams, pretty clearly, and secondly, because you'd have 176 years of combined futility.
There you go.
To ahead, right? You think the three of us, and I think if you combine our 3 ages, we're not old enough to match up to the years that the Indians and the Cubs have gone without winning a World Series. So that's pretty amazing.
That's you know what? It would be a really interesting series. I think I'd watch it if it was those 2 teams in there.
But I tell you, I think that with Cleveland, with the Cavaliers, and we had the graphic up there before, the Cavaliers won.
Yeah, they broke the streak.
Maybe it's Cleveland's year. Who knows?
Hey, Cleveland rocks.
Yeah.
It could be, and it just happens I'm going out to a conference. I'm going to be in the Cleveland area on Tuesday. A lot of friends who are from Cleveland will be with them, so I'm kind of looking forward to seeing that first game with a bunch of diehard Cleveland Indians fans in Cleveland. So it's going to be kind of cool.
All right, Joe.
It'll be a great series. That's the way it turns out.
All right, we got 30 seconds. Who's going to win the election and why?
Who's going to win the election?
And why?
I think Hillary Clinton's going to win, and I think I think the Trump might close up the gap a little bit, but I think she's going to win because it's going to be honestly the less objectionable of the 2 candidates. I think she's very a lot of things have come out, and there's very little enthusiasm for her. But Trump has just made so many mistakes, and his campaign has been so poorly run since he got the nomination that she's going to basically win with kind of by default.
I think I think her and her campaign. The only mistake that they're making right now is they're trying to run out the clock. They're playing
prevent defense.
Prevent defense right now. And as Jet fans, we know how well the prevent defense works. Because there's the difference, the main difference between the Jets and a team like, say, the New England Patriots.
I was going to say that between the Jets and Hillary Clinton is
no, the
Hillary
Jets.
Clinton's a woman.
No, the Jets play not to lose.
Yeah.
And the Patriots play to win.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the biggest difference in.
And that shows the results.
And that's it, man. Okay, Joe.
I think we're going to see a very surprising turnout and maybe even some surprising wins in a few states by some of the third-party candidates like Gary Johnson and Evan McMullen.
And I got to tell you, we really need those third-party candidates to do well because otherwise they have to show that we can have a third party in this country. And if they can get 10% of the vote, who knows what happens next time?
None of the above. Okay.
Absolutely.
All righty, Joe. Thanks.
Talk to you soon, Joe.
Day.
And I'll send you my address for those Cuban cigars. No, just kidding.
Sounds good, man. Yeah.
All righty, man.
Always
Thanks,
a pleasure.
Joe.
All right.
That's a good. Joe's a good guy.
Yep.
All right, let's take another break here on the Glory Day shows, and when we get back, we'll bring you some stories I guarantee you may not have heard about. Stay with us. You're watching the Glory Day Show with Bruce and Disco, only on the Inravio TV network. We're coming right back.
The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, Inravio can get your message out there, and we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is Inravio.com.
This is Joe Larson. You should check out the 505 on Racing Show live every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or catch us on video on demand anytime, 24/7, only on the Inravio TV network.
Village Music Shop of Mastic. 1-800-HEY-DUDE. Your full-service store with personalized attention, school band instrument rentals and sales, music instruction on all instruments for all styles and age groups, for guitars, drums, amplifiers, PA systems, and accessories. It's Village Music Shop. 1495 Montauk Highway in Mastic. Call 1-800-HEY-DUDE or go to villagemusicshop.com.
Welcome back to the Glory Day Show with Bruce and Disco here on the Inravio TV network. But we at the Glory Day Show know that you can get the scores and highlights from your favorite team from any sports-related website. But you turn to this program because we can bring you the bizarre, the macabre, or just plain strange stories that we know you, our sophisticated yet slightly twisted audience, truly appreciate. In a segment that we call Did You Hear About?
I gotta tell you, the booth has gotten much better with coming up with that sweeper right away, man.
We applaud the booth all the time here.
All right, give him a thumbs up. Even though he's a Yankee fan.
And a Patriot fan and whatever it is. He's our Yankee fan. Oh, and a Ranger fan too, right? Let's make it the
triple whammy,
The
man.
triple whammy of evil.
So, let's get to the stories. Did you hear about?
No sweeper? All right. Every time we say, did you hear about, you should play the sweeper. It's like David Letterman breaking the glass. All right. Story number one brings us back to baseball and a fan base activity that both excites the casual fan and disgusts the baseball purist fan. I'm talking about the wave. Ready? Let's do the wave.
All right. I'm waving.
All right. I believe the wave began in the late 80s as a way for fans that got bored by the slow pace of baseball to do something to get their blood pumping. It began as a fun, innocuous thing that fans really seemed to get into. But as a qualified longtime baseball fan that attends a number of games each season, I hate the wave.
Me too.
I really do. Well, maybe not the wave itself, but just the way it's being deployed, like right in the middle of a game. You know, couldn't we fans do the wave between innings? Or maybe during a pitching change? You know, is it really necessary to do the wave in the 8th inning of a 1-1 game?
When there's some downtime, that's a good idea.
You know?
All right.
Well, during this past baseball season, Mets pitcher Noah Syndergaard did a number of segments on SNY's The Amazing Life, which profiled a few Met players and their opinions on all things baseball. In a segment that aired in late August, Syndergaard offered Met fans a few tips on what they call fan etiquette when you're at Citi Field. Okay? Of all the tips Syndergaard advised for the fans, it was his utter disdain for the wave that struck a chord with fans like me. And he summed it up simply by just saying, if the fan in your section are doing the wave, please refuse to participate. Just don't do it. The wave isn't cool anymore.
You know, and that's what I do. I never get up during the wave.
I hate the wave.
I might go put my hands up, but that's it, man.
No, you're an enabler.
Okay. That's because somebody said, put your hands up. Oh, okay, you know.
Syndergaard also had tips for fans sitting in the front row, reminding them not to interfere with a Mets player because, I quote, we need the out, but encouraging them to do everything they can to a visiting player to knock it out. You know, that's legal, by the way. You know,
It's even legal. I remember Leo DeRocher, playing, managing the Cubs, and a baseball player. And actually, this was before they had the gates in front of the, So there was a catcher. I think it was a Met catcher, and he took a step down the stairs to catch the ball.
Oh, yeah.
And Leo DeRocher, just
because
kicked his legs out from under him,
because if
man.
they are reaching, you can't reach out on there's that imaginary line
Yeah.
on the fan. You can't reach out to interfere with the ball, but if they do, I would pour a beer in the guy's head.
Not at $9 a pop,
Well,
man.
no, you're right. Maybe I would pour a soda.
Yeah.
At $7.75.
There you go.
He also had advice for that situation where you find yourself at the game with someone who just is not your wife or girlfriend.
Okay.
And you get on the kiss cam.
Oh, okay.
He advises that you bring a sign that says, "She's my sister." This way, if you don't kiss your sister, you don't get booed by 45,000 fans. Right?
That's good advice.
Well, he also provided guidelines for etiquette during the free T-shirts being shot into the stands, breaking them up into two categories. He suggested that if you allow the following people to catch the T-shirt if they're sitting next to you, only if they are females,
Okay.
the elderly, children, or, of course, the person who paid for your ticket.
Okay. Well, that's fair. But, you could also catch it and give it to the guy that gave you the ticket, too.
Yeah, but
right?
you do have the fun of allowing them to catch it. What I think you should do is, run interference so that the person can catch it. Right?
Okay.
All right. But he also suggested that you do not allow the following people to catch the free T-shirt under any circumstances. Number one, anybody with a baseball glove.
Okay.
Number two, Yankee fans, like our lovely and talented producer. Children that are bigger than you, and anyone wearing a Mets jersey with their own name on it.
Well, what happens to me if I'm Jay Brutes? Come on, man.
I guess
he's going
qualify.
to give me a pass. Is what he's
But
gonna be
the other thing is he's 6'7".
Yeah.
So he's getting any T-shirt he wants.
That's true. That's true. All righty. Moving right along here, it's story number 2. If you heard about a story about a college football player that was 5'10" and 271 pounds, you would think he was a linebacker or a fullback, right? I know that I would. What if I told you that he was a place kicker? Did you hear about Joey Julius from Hummelstown, Pennsylvania, a place kicker for the Penn State Nittany Lions? As a freshman in 2015, he became an internet sensation because of his unusual size at a position that's usually reserved for 90-pound weaklings. He had a decent season, converting 10 of 12 field goals and 20 of 24 extra points. He was the fun story of the year in college football and was quite a force on the field, more like a rugby player than a kicker. He never shied away from making a tackle. He took a lot of ribbing, and most trolls on the internet would call him the fat kicker, but it was his pet name for him, and he wore it like a badge of honor. He was universally beloved by sports fans everywhere, and his GIFs, that's pictures, I guess, right?
That's gifts for the hip.
Okay, flattening players that tried to run past him have millions of good hits. He was a feel-good story for the overweight athletes everywhere. But in the spring of 2016, he didn't show up for the team workouts. Turned out he was dealing with a serious eating disorder his whole life, checking himself into the McCallum Place Clinic in St. Louis for eating disorders.
That's sad.
He struggled for the last decade with binge eating disorder and has been showing signs of bulimia because of his anxiety to lose weight to play football. But he did make it back to the gridiron this season, and it seems that for some reason he has a target on his back. Always known for taking out opposing players with hard hits, this time an opposing player was ejected for the second consecutive week for unsportsmanlike conduct against Julius. In a game against Minnesota, a linebacker was ejected for hitting Julius after a kick traveled out of bounds. The following week, another linebacker from Maryland was flagged for the same infraction. The fans at home, 108,000 of them, chant his name when his starting lineups are announced, and he may well be the most famous kicker in either the NFL or in college football.
When I saw the picture of this guy, who he reminded me of? The guy on
Sebastian
Janikowski. Yeah.
The guy that fell asleep in a bar after a football game.
I was watching video of this guy, and he is a monster.
271 pounds.
He
man.
was laying people out.
Yeah.
He was, and you know what? He's a kicker.
I know.
The Giants can use a kicker.
They sure could.
Right? How great would that be? Right. All right. Our last story is for the adults in the room only. So please take the children outside to play or cover their ears. Just putting a disclaimer out there.
Okay.
For all the men that are viewers to this program that might still be sitting on the fence about who they should vote for in the presidential election, I bring you what Don Corleone would call an offer you can't refuse.
Oh, I see Don Corleone up there, too.
Well, actually, I'm not making the offer. I'm only reporting a quid pro quo that is being offered by one of the sex symbols of the 1980s, the lovely and talented slut known purely as Madonna.
Purely as Madonna.
I thought purely was
that wasn't the right word to choose.
An interesting
Who's
word.
writing this stuff anyway? Like
Did
a
you hear
virgin.
about what happened this past Tuesday at Amy Schumer's comedy show at Madison Square Garden? The 58-year-old Material Girl announced that she will give you oral sex if you vote for Hillary Clinton on November 8th. That's right. The new slogan for the Democratic presidential nominee is now Knobbers for Hillary. On stage at Madison Square Garden, Madonna was introducing comedian Amy Schumer, who had experienced a backlash a few days earlier in Tampa while making fun of some Donald Trump fans. Witnesses say about 200 people walked out of that show after she started bashing Trump. But Madonna made this announcement during her introduction of Schumer, saying, and I quote, but we did clean this up, if you vote for Hillary Clinton, I will give you a you-know-what. Okay, I'm really good at it. I'm not a douche and I'm not a tool. I take my time. I have a lot of eye contact and I do, well, let's just say that she completes the act, shall we? Of course, the comments were met with wild applause and shouting from the audience because, well, they were just offered free oral sex. However, the mostly female audience for Schumer may have felt a little left out because there was no promise made for taking care of female genitalia. As for the small percentage of men in the audience, well, I guess this might be part of what Donald Trump is calling a rigged election. After all, the offer targets one of the few areas that Clinton has struggled with in the polls, white males. After all, what can the Donald offer in return if you decide to vote for him?
What have you got to lose?
Alrighty then.
Oh, man.
Now, would that sway your opinion?
No.
You're still voting, even if Madonna is standing outside the booth
Yeah.
and waiting for you. Or is it because it's Madonna? She is 58 years old. You know.
She's a virgin.
I don't think so.
Okay.
We are going to take a short break. And if we're still on the air when we come back, we'll wrap up for the weekend. Stay with us. You're watching The Glory Days Show with Bruce and Disco only on the Inravio TV network. We think we're coming right back.
All right.
For over 60 years, Hanson Carpet has put the customer first, providing only the finest quality products and service. And Hanson Carpet is so much more than just carpet. We also carry a wide selection of window blinds and shades, and our licensed and insured technicians can service any of your flooring or window covering needs. Browse our huge selection of laminate, carpet, linoleum, vinyl, and tile. Stop by our showroom today or visit HansonCarpet.com. No matter what your project, Hanson Carpet has got you covered. Village Music Shop of Mastic. 1-800-HEY-DUDE, your full-service store with personalized attention, school band instrument rentals and sales, music instruction on all instruments for all styles and age groups, for guitars, drums, amplifiers, PA systems, and accessories. It's Village Music Shop, 1495 Montauk Highway in Mastic. Call 1-800-HEY-DUDE or go to villagemusicshop.com.
What's up, guys? We're Scare No Fair, and we're here with Inravio. If they catch you at a show with one of these bracelets, you will win $100.
That's a lot of money.
So get a bracelet.
Do whatever it takes to get that. Hit them up online.
world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, Inravio can get your message out there, and we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is Inravio.com.
The time has come. Are you ready? Spooky Walk at Camp Aquatic is back and scarier than ever. Tickets are $20 at the gate, with all proceeds supporting the camp. Visit SpookyWalk.com.
Hey, I'm Raoul Panther. And I'm Commander B. Hawkins. And I'm Murphy Weller. We're some of the proto-men. If we see you without this bracelet, you get punched in the But if you have this bracelet from Inravio.com, you can win $100. Put one of these on, or else.
Welcome back to the Glory Day Show with Bruce and Disco here on the Inravio TV network. So what did we learn today?
There are offers you can't refuse.
Well, there's offers you can refuse.
Okay, well.
It depends on how you look at it.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? I learned today that I just might consider voting for Hillary Clinton.
Really? Okay.
You know, we don't get offers like that too often.
No, that's true. That's true. The eye contact thing sold it for me, though. I'll tell you that.
I learned
Act
that...
like you're talking on the phone, long distance. I don't know.
that is a swing vote.
Swing
A
vote.
swing
Okay.
vote. I learned that Joe Battaglia might actually be willing to commit a federal crime
Yeah.
and send me some Cuban cigars.
I thought he was going to send you some real Cubans. I thought he's what he's going to do. Okay. He's into human trafficking now, by the way, I think.
I also learned that if you're going to be a fat person, you might as well be a good athlete.
Be a kicker.
Be a kicker, right?
And since the Giants are looking for a kicker, like you say, maybe Joey Julius will join the ranks of the New York Football Giants. We'll have to see.
You know, they're going to be in London. Why did they wait until Thursday to go there?
I know, that is a good question.
Right? Because aren't they what, 5-6 hours ahead of us or
Yeah.
something?
6 hours, I believe.
6 hours
Yep.
ahead of us. I think the Rams left on Monday to go, so they give them a little time to...
Yeah, the Giants
kinda
don't
get
have
happening.
much. There was a story in the paper about that. They really don't have all that much time to, do any exploring, really. I mean, they came in yesterday. They all have jet lag, so they really got today, and that's about it. And they really got to take a trip over to Twickenham Stadium, I think, to, kind of understand, the field conditions and where the positions of the
They have a
clocks are
stadium-
going to be and stuff like
They
that.
have a stadium called Twickenham?
Twickenham, yes.
What is Twickenham? Is
I
that the
don't
town?
know. Yeah, I guess.
Or is that like the guy like a businessman?
No, I think it's the name of a town, but I could be wrong.
All righty. I think
So the
that's
election
about it.
is just 17 days away.
17
Thank
days
God,
away.
man.
That means
so
we will have two more
God knows
shows.
what we'll talk about in our banter starting in 2 weeks, man. You
Well,
know?
we have 2 more shows
Yeah, I know.
before we get there. But for today,
Yeah.
Thanks to our producers, Anthony Mazzallo and Bonnie Schultz, for all their hard work and making us look so good out here. Thanks to Joe Battaglia for helping us out today and providing us with his baseball insights. You can read Joe's articles on the website called National League Central Discussion. He's a good writer, Joe.
He is.
Not as good as me, but he's good. Thanks again, Chuck and Bonnie, for putting up with this nonsense week after week and allowing us to bring you this type of low-quality programming. And, of course, thanks to you, our loyal viewers. Don't forget, you can check out the Glory Days on-demand page on www.inravio.com to watch any of our past shows or any of the other great shows on the Inravio TV network. Next week, we'll bring on some of our hockey experts. Right? We'll talk a little bit about the start of the NHL season. Maybe we'll talk about the World Series.
Oh, I'm sure we will.
Maybe we'll have a Trump-free show next week.
I sincerely doubt that.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe, and we will see you next time.
Go Indians. Woo, 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 woo. Okay.